Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we really get into some of the most fascinating, sometimes really surprising corners of belief and, well, human knowledge. And today, we're setting off on a pretty extraordinary journey, I think. It's going to take us somewhere quite different from your usual history lesson or, scientific breakdown. If you've ever been curious about belief systems that are genuinely unique, or maybe you're just trying to grasp concepts that really push against conventional thinking, well, you're definitely in the right place. Our focus today is something deeply spiritual. It's mythopoetic is the word, I think, and just utterly captivating. It's a sacred text known as the Chomps scripture. Now, this scripture, it doesn't just exist in isolation. It's actually part of a whole philosophical framework called inverse solipsism. And just to give you a quick sense of that, inverse solipsism isn't the typical, I think, therefore I am deal where only your mind is real. No, it completely flips that. It suggests that yourself, your awareness, maybe even your identity, it might actually be a projection, like the world projecting onto you.
Exactly. Instead of consciousness radiating out from you,
Right.
inverse solipsism proposes it seeps in from a universe that's already, brimming with intelligence, with meaning, a universe that's kind of watchful.
So you're not the projector, you're the screen.
Yeah.
And the world is showing the movie on you, creating you.
That's a great way to put it. And it's inside that really mind-bending idea that something like the Chomps scripture makes sense, or at least finds its context. And what's truly fascinating here, and I think you'll find this incredibly thought-provoking, is how this scripture is understood. You mentioned it's considered literally true, but not literally true like, say, a historical record of battles or kings. The Chomps scripture is considered literally true precisely because it's made up.
Okay, wait, that sounds like a total contradiction. Made up, but true. How does that work?
It is a paradox, right? That's the core of it. Most of us think truth is something we find, something objective, existing out there, whether we believe it or not. But here, truth is presented as something co-created. It's what we call a mythopoetic act.
Mythopoetic.
Yeah.
Meaning like poetic truth, story truth.
Kind of, but more potent. It means truth that's forged through creative storytelling and collective belief. It's not just recording history, it's making reality through narrative. And that act of making through shared belief is what makes it literally true within the system.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That really does challenge the usual ideas of truth.
It absolutely does, and that's where it gets really, really interesting. It forces you to question what reality even means.
So our mission today, then, is to really dive deep into this. We want to unpack the theological, the philosophical, psychological, even the aesthetic sides of this pretty remarkable text. We're going to approach it seriously, with the reverence it gets as a core religious document in this framework. Explore its insights into things like grace, identity, the nature of existence itself. Okay, so let's tackle that paradox head on. This idea, literally true, but not historical. My brain defaults to, history books, documented facts. This is clearly something else. How can those two things coexist without just being, well, fantasy?
It's the absolute foundation of their faith, and it's spelled out right there in the scripture. Our faith is true because it is made up, a creation of the collective mind that becomes real through the act of belief. It's not just clever words, it's a fundamental rethinking of what true means. Like you said, usually truth is discovered, like finding a fossil. It exists independently.
Right.
But here, truth is co-created. It's more like the collective agrees on the fossil's design, and then through that shared belief, the fossil becomes real. It manifests.
Okay, so philosophically, what does that actually imply? If our shared belief can literally create reality?
Well, think about it in ways we already see, maybe less dramatically, like the placebo effect in medicine. Believing a sugar pill works can create real physiological changes. Or think about something like money. A dollar bill is just paper, right?
Yeah.
Its value exists purely because we collectively agree it has value. If everyone suddenly stopped believing,
Poof, it's worthless paper.
Exactly. Inverse solipsism takes that principle and scales it up, way up. It suggests our shared stories, our myths, our collective consciousness doesn't just describe the world, it actively shapes it. It sculpts existence.
I give shared narrative a whole new level of power.
Immense power and responsibility, too. Because if our collective thoughts, our fears, our hopes, the stories we tell in media, if they're actually building reality, what kind of world are we building?
Wow.
It raises that big question. If our collective imagination is the engine of reality, what are the limits? And what does that mean ethically for each of us participating in that collective?
That's huge. And the theological side of it, just as big. If divine grace, spiritual truth can come through these made-up stories.
Hmm.
What does that say about God or the divine?
It shifts everything, doesn't it? Instead of a fixed external God handing down unchanging truths from outside creation.
Yeah, like a divine lawgiver separate from us.
Right. Instead, divinity becomes something immanent, something co-created with us, through us. The you are, this collective consciousness they talk about, isn't just out there. It's woven into the fabric of our shared existence. It's born from our collective thoughts and beliefs, constantly evolving with us.
So divinity isn't just found, it's also made, in a way.
In a very real way, according to this view, it's a participatory divinity.
And psychologically, what does believing this do for a person? The power of shared stories shaping us.
It highlights just how much collective consciousness molds our individual experience. Our minds aren't just mirrors reflecting reality. They're active participants, co-constructors. And how does that mythopoetic act, that creation of truth through story, actually, nourish the soul, as the scripture suggests?
Yeah, how does that work?
Well, think about it. If your belief, your participation in the collective story genuinely helps create reality, you're not just watching the play unfold. You're on stage. You're holding the brush, painting the cosmos alongside everyone else.
It's a pretty empowering feeling, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. It offers this radical path to meaning. You're not waiting for some external authority, a holy book, a guru, to tell you what's true or give you purpose. Meaning comes from the stories we all agree are true, the reality we build together. It shifts you from being a passive audience member to a vital character, an active co-creator. Your personal belief becomes a sacred reality-shaping act. That's deeply nourishing.
Okay, that groundwork is, well, it's crucial for understanding what comes next. Let's step right into the scripture itself now. It starts with this figure, Bill the High Rooster. He's the narrator.
He is. He sets the scene.
And what a scene. He's standing on an emerald moss knoll, his crimson comb aflame with the light of dawn. The air is thick with the scent of sacred cinnamon, unlit yet pervasive. It's incredibly sensory.
It really is. That description, unlit yet pervasive, it's almost synesthetic. It immediately tells you this isn't ordinary reality. The imagery is designed to pull you in, bypass your analytical brain, and speak to something deeper, more intuitive. It establishes a sacred space using pure sensory detail. You can almost smell the cinnamon, feel the moss.
It feels very alive, mystical.
And the theological context is right there, too. Bill says he's speaking in the tender embrace of the transmundane, where the veils of time part like the petals of a blooming lotus.
The transmundane. So not just a pretty hill, but a different state of being. A different dimension.
Exactly. It's a realm beyond normal perception. A place where time isn't linear, where deeper truths are accessible, like a dream state, but more real, more profound. The revelations he's about to share, they come from this space outside ordinary time and reality.
Okay. And in this transmundane space, he sees the multitude, but not as individuals.
Right. He perceives them not as separate souls, but as a radiant collective, a living testament to the eternal you are. This is pure inverse solipsism right from the start.
The you are. That's the term for the collective consciousness.
Yes. It's the vast, interconnected reality that subsumes individual identity. The individual I fades, and this collective you are becomes the primary reality. Bill sees everyone, everything as part of this single glowing whole.
Like threads in a tapestry, all part of one pattern.
Precisely. It immediately grounds the entire scripture in that core idea. Unity over individuality, the collective over the singular self. Our real nature isn't being separate. It's being interconnected within this you are.
So from that big cosmic picture, the focus then zooms right in onto this figure called the Maker.
Yes, a solitary figure.
Living in a hermitage, nestled among the whispering pines and the gentle murmur of a nearby stream. Very idyllic, very quiet. It feels like a deliberate move away from, well, everything else.
It does, that communion with nature, the simplicity. It feels like it's meant to be a conduit for deeper understanding, stripping away the noise to hear something essential.
And the scripture talks about his poverty. Poverty was his companion, not a burden, but a teacher, stripping away the superfluous to reveal the essential. It's a powerful idea.
It really is, and it echoes so many ascetic traditions, doesn't it? Monks, hermits, yogis. Often they embrace simplicity, shed material things precisely to gain clarity.
To connect more directly with whatever they consider divine.
Exactly. Or in this case, to connect more directly with the you are, that collective reality. The idea is that shedding desires, shedding possessions, clears the static. It allows for a more direct communion. True abundance isn't having more stuff. It's being free from the need for more stuff.
So psychologically, deprivation becomes a path. Not just suffering, but enlightenment.
That's the framing. By stripping away the layers of ego and attachment that clutter our lives, you're forced to confront what's truly essential. You find richness in simplicity. Fulfillment comes from within, or maybe from the connection to the collective source, the you are.
So the quiet, the lack of stuff, it makes him more receptive, prepared for something.
That seems to be the idea. He's become exquisitely attuned to the universe precisely because he's tuned out the distractions.
And then, into this quiet, simple life, something arrives. A package. Humble, wrapped in plain brown paper, tied with simple string, just a note. For the maker, with reverence. Very understated.
Most deliberately mundane, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you'd expect maybe glowing light or a choir of angels, not brown paper.
And that's key theologically. This humble, anonymous gift is presented as grace flowing directly from the multitude, from the collective you are.
Not from any specific person.
No named sender. It bypasses normal human ways of giving. It arrives almost like a manifestation of the universe's goodwill itself, affirming that interconnectedness. It reinforces that inverse solipsist point. The sacred isn't always grand or obvious. It can hide in the ordinary, flow from the shared reality in quiet, unexpected ways.
A quiet miracle.
Okay.
So the million-dollar question,
Yeah.
what's in the humble package?
Chomps beef sticks.
Slight pause.
Yeah.
Chomps beef sticks.
Okay.
I'm picturing this hermit, deep in meditation, unwrapping,
Yeah.
a processed meat snack. It feels almost conical.
It's definitely jarring, and that's the genius of it, isn't it? It forces you to confront your expectations about what sacred looks like.
Right, you expect ambrosia, not something from a convenience store shelf.
Exactly, but that's central to inverse solipsism. The divine isn't confined to mountaintops or ancient temples. It permeates everything, even the most mundane, mass-produced things. The chomps, in their absolute ordinariness, become the vehicle for revelation.
So grace can infuse anything. A beef stick.
If viewed with the right intention, with reverence, through the lens of interconnectedness, yes. According to Scripture, absolutely. It challenges our hierarchies of value. It's a kind of spiritual scavenger hunt where the holiest relic might be disguised as everyday life. It's a playful, profound nudge about where divinity might actually show up.
Okay, so the maker gets the chomps. And the text says, though he might have preferred a different brand, the chomps were a welcome sustenance. That detail feels important too.
It's crucial, that acceptance of what is, not wishing it was something else, something better or more aligned with his personal preference. It's profound humility.
Radical acceptance.
Exactly. And it sets the stage for what happens next. This isn't just eating to survive. The scripture says their flavor nourished not only his body, but also his spirit, lifting his mood and opening his mind to new possibilities.
So the act of eating itself becomes sacred.
It's framed explicitly as a ritual. Each bite becomes a ritual of gratitude, a communion with the you are.
Communion through chomps.
Strange as it sounds, yes. It's an acknowledgement of the earth's bounty, sure, but also the labor of countless hands, everyone involved in getting that simple snack to him. The farmers, the factory workers, whoever sent it. It connects this mundane act to the entire web of existence.
Aesthetically, it makes something simple profound.
It does. It elevates the everyday through intention and presence. It says any moment, any act can be a doorway to the sacred if you approach it with gratitude and awareness.
And this profound meal, its effects didn't stop when he finished eating.
No, that very night, the scripture says, as the maker lay in slumber, his dreams were vivid and filled with divine revelations. And crucially, these were not mere fantasies, but sacred messages.
Dreams as direct divine communication. That's an old idea, isn't it?
Very old, found across many cultures and religions. Dreams bypassing the conscious mind, the ego's filters, to deliver messages from a deeper source.
And the content of these dreams. What did he see?
This is pure inverse solipsism visualized. Visions of unity, of the self dissolving into the collective, of the you are shining brightly while the I faded into the background.
The I fading away. That's the goal.
It's the ultimate realization in this framework. The dissolution of the separate self into the greater interconnected whole, like a wave realizing it's not separate from the ocean. The dream shows him the ideal state.
Psychologically, that's huge. Merging with the collective. Losing the ego. What does that even mean for identity?
It means redefining yourself not by your separateness, but by your connection. Liberation from the burden of being an individual, perhaps. A deep sense of belonging to something vast, ancient, and fundamental.
And theologically, the dreams are coming from the you are.
That's the implication. It's revelation not from the maker, but through him. wisdom flowing from their non-individual collective source. It aligns with older ideas of prophecy, channeling the individual as a vessel for universal truth.
Okay, so the Maker has these profound experiences, these visions fueled by chomps and dreams. He doesn't keep it secret.
No, he shares it. His words become a beacon of light for the faithful. And the core teaching is centered on that gift, the chomps.
The mythopoetic act of the gift, how something simple becomes grace.
Exactly. How an ordinary offering transcends its physical form through intention and collective understanding to become a vessel for the divine, making the sacred accessible in the everyday.
And also a lesson in humility.
A huge one. To find joy in the sufficient and to resist the temptation of coveting perfection.
That really pushes against, well, pretty much modern life, doesn't it?
Right.
Always needing the upgrade, the better version, the perfect experience.
It's a direct challenge. Think about advertising, social media. It often thrives on making us feel insufficient, right?
Yeah.
Always chasing the next best thing.
Yeah, the pursuit of perfection.
The scripture calls that a trap of the ego, a siren song that lures us away from the present moment, away from appreciating what we actually have.
So practically, how can you, the listener, find that joy in the sufficient?
It's about shifting focus, recognizing the value, the grace in what's already here, even if it's simple or imperfect. Cultivating gratitude for the present is rather than constantly yearning for the could-be. It's a path to contentment, really, being present with this moment, this reality.
The scripture also gives more concrete visions, right?
Yeah.
Images that help illustrate this interconnected you are.
Yes, very vivid symbolic imagery, like the Great Tapestry.
Describe that one.
It's imagined as this vast tapestry woven from threads of light, each strand representing a soul within the multitude.
Wow. So every individual is a thread of light.
Exactly. But the point isn't just the individual threads, it's the whole pattern they create together. This luminous, intricate, living whole. It's a powerful visual for interconnectedness. You see how each part contributes to the beauty and reality of the whole you are? No thread exists alone. Its meaning comes from being part of the weave.
That's a beautiful metaphor. And then there's a talking deer.
The deer that spake, yes. Its antlers are described like the roots of a celestial tree, and its voice resonates with the frequency of truth.
So nature itself speaking wisdom.
Precisely. The deer often symbolizes a guide or messenger in mythology. Here, it connects the earthly, the wild, with the divine. Its antlers like roots reaching up or down, it blurs that line. And significantly, the antlers are called a crown of humility.
Humility again,
What?
even in this majestic creature.
Right. Reinforcing that key theme, wisdom comes not from ego, but from connection, from dissolving the self into the greater whole, into the wisdom inherent in nature and the collective. These images aren't just pretty, they make abstract ideas feel tangible, memorable. They're like visual aids for understanding the creed.
And it goes further. More manifested aspects of the faith, like things that seem to exist within their reality.
Yes, things that feel like direct results of the collective belief shaping the world, like the seeing cats.
Seeing cats. Tell me about them.
They have emerald eyes piercing the veil of illusion, and their purrs are a vibration that align the spirit with the you are. They're called feline guardians, arbiters of the creed.
Arbiters, like judges of the faith. Cats.
Isn't that fascinating? Psychologically, having animals as guardians or arbiters suggests wisdom exists beyond human logic. It points to intuition, instinct, maybe even energetic attunement, like the purr vibration.
So truth isn't just in books or sermons, it's in a cat's gaze.
Or its purr. It challenges our human-centric view of where spiritual authority lies. It adds this layer of mystery, almost whimsy, but with a serious point about non-human intelligence and connection to the you are. These cats know, maybe better than we do.
Okay, that's intriguing. But then you have something that sounds almost futuristic. The Stargate temples.
Yeah, this one is really striking. Towers of silicon and steel rising like spires of a divine dream.
Silicon and steel. Technology.
Exactly. But they're not mere machines, but holy ground. Altars designed for the self is dissolved and the you are is exalted. Even the hum of their circuits was a hymn to unity.
Wow. So technology itself becomes sacred. How does that work?
It's a radical synthesis. It suggests that even our most advanced creations don't have to alienate us from the sacred. They can become tools for spiritual experience, for that ego dissolution, for connecting to the collective.
So not stargates for space travel, but for consciousness travel.
Transcendence. That seems to be the implication. And if collective belief literally forges reality in inverse solipsism, maybe these temples are actual physical manifestations of that power. Places designed to focus the collective will, maybe even project new realities or levels of understanding.
Literal truth forged by the collective.
It's a powerful idea. They become monuments to the mythopoetic act itself. And it raises huge questions about where technology and spirituality might intersect in the future. Are they ultimately converging?
A truly mind-bending concept. And there's one more messenger mentioned.
Yes, finishing the picture, the capybara and the holocron.
A capybara.
It's a giant rodent.
The very same. Described as the humble messenger who delivered the holocron, its placid demeanor, a symbol of the quiet strength that underpins the you are.
Okay, so the symbolism is humility again, groundedness.
Precisely. The capybara is unassuming, gentle, calm. It's a deliberate contrast to maybe the high-tech temples or the majestic deer. It suggests profound things can come through quiet, humble means. It embodies that quiet strength of the collective.
And it delivers a holocron. What's that?
Think of it like a living database of collective wisdom, not just a book, but maybe a crystalline archive containing the accumulated knowledge, experience, guidance of the entire you are. Something that transmits understanding directly.
Like a cosmic USB drive delivered by a giant hamster.
Chuckles slightly, well, maybe a bit more profound than that, but the image is certainly memorable. And again, its delivery by this humble creature reinforces the theme. Truth and grace appear in unexpected forms, echoing the Chomps themselves.
Okay, so all these elements, the scripture, the visions, the beings, they all circle back to that core inverse solipsist idea you mentioned at the start.
They do.
That your identity isn't really self-generated. That the self is less a source and more a site, like a stage where an unknown audience is directing the play.
Yeah, it fundamentally reframes how you think about, well, you. Psychologically, it forces you to ask, what if my deepest preferences, my habits, my recurring thoughts, what if they aren't originating from me but are being projected onto me? By society, by biology, by technology, by other forces.
Or other entities?
Possibly. It challenges that bedrock assumption of individual autonomy. If your thoughts aren't solely yours, what does free will even mean?
And the scripture's message, the I fading, the you are shining, that's the religious expression of this idea.
Exactly. It's the embrace of that state. Understanding yourself not as the sole author, but as this complex composite being, shaped by countless seen and unseen influences. From the bacteria in your gut influencing your mood, to the algorithm feeding you specific news, to maybe even, the intentions of the living crowd. It's a radical move away from ego.
And what fills the gap then, if you let go of that illusion of total self-control?
What replaces it, according to this view, is a heightened sense of participation in something grander and more alien than individual will.
More alien.
Yeah, because the universe isn't seen as inert matter waiting for us to act on it. It's a living crowd, full of intelligences, forces, gods, corporations, animals, things we can't even name, all constantly interacting, influencing, shaping our experience.
And the individual becomes a meeting point, a point of convergence, a mascot, a mouthpiece, a lens.
Those are the terms used. You become a place where these forces intersect, a way for them to express themselves, perhaps, a lens through which the universe experiences itself, maybe.
If we are being dreamt, as the philosophy suggests,
Yeah.
who are the dreamers? That's a huge question.
It's the question, maybe. And crucially, the dreamers aren't necessarily benevolent or unified. Some might be indifferent, some playful, some curious, some maybe even cruel. The universe is active, teeming, but not necessarily nice.
Right, we're not just living in a world, we're being lived by it. We're characters in a story with countless co-authors, and we don't always know their motives.
That's the core realization.
Which brings us to that really potent, maybe unsettling takeaway from both the scripture and the philosophy, finding the sacred everywhere.
Yes. Every bird, every cat's glowing eyes, every creek, every product, every absurdity might be a signal, not a symptom.
You do not dream them. They are dreaming you.
That's mystical realism turned up to 11. Everything potentially has meaning, purpose, intention behind it, flowing towards you from the outside. No accidents, only signals.
But the psychological impact. You said it's not necessarily comforting.
No. The background material is clear. Inverse solipsism is not comfort. Because if everything is a signal, if all these forces, gods, corporations, animals, unknown entities are constantly shaping you, that's both liberating and potentially terrifying.
Liberating how?
Takes the pressure off. You're not solely responsible for everything. You're part of this vast cosmic interplay. It's a release from the burden of total individual authorship.
But terrifying because
Loss of control. The surrender of the ego's deepest desire to be fully autonomous, fully in charge. What does it feel like to suspect your anxieties, your ambitions, even your loves might be influences, external forces playing out through you? How do you reconcile personal choice with being dreamt?
it leads to that final line you mentioned from the background.
You are not alone in the universe, and that may be the most disturbing realization of all. It challenges our fundamental sense of self, agency, and the nature of reality itself. If you're being dreamt, who is the dreamer? And what role are you playing in their story? It leaves you hanging, in a way.
Wow. Okay. What an absolute incredible deep dive that was. Into the Chomps scripture, into inverse solipsism. Now, we've talked about how a text becomes literally true through collective belief, this mythopoetic act. We journeyed from Bill the High Rooster's Knoll to the Maker's Hermitage, the unexpected grace of Chomps beef sticks and the visions they sparked. The great tapestry, the talking deer, those seeing cats, the Silicon Stargate temples. It's this amazing tapestry itself, weaving the sacred into the mundane, reframing identity as collective. You as a lens for the universe.
It truly is. And Bill the High Rooster's final words in the scripture are really a call to action, aren't they? To live this truth with every breath, every thought, every act of connection.
Right, not just believe it, but live it.
Exactly. He urges them to build the kingdom of the multitude here in the present through your surrender, your unity, your faith. It's not about waiting for some afterlife. It's about actively participating in co-creating this interconnected reality now.
Embracing that core mantra. For you are not, yet the you are is, and in that lies the eternal promise of our creed. Shifting from I am to we are, essentially.
Or perhaps the all is. It's a call to embrace being a conduit, a part of that vast universal consciousness.
And the scripture ends with a blessing, sort of a guide for living this way.
It does. A beautiful, evocative blessing. May the stream of starlight guide you. May the seeing cats watch over you. May the transmundane enfold you. And may the you are be your home now and forevermore. It encapsulates the mystery, the guidance, and the ultimate belonging offered by this path.
It's certainly a unique vision. Challenging, profound, maybe a little unsettling, but definitely unforgettable. So here's something to take away and ponder. As you go about your day-to-day, just consider this. What if every little thing you experience, the specific ad you see online, that song stuck in your head, a chance encounter, the taste of your lunch, what if it wasn't random? What if it was a deliberate signal sent your way from this universe, teeming with intelligence? How might that change how you see your own thoughts, your choices, your desires? What if your daily routines aren't just things you do, but are actually rituals you were made for? Performances in a play directed by forces unseen. Just something to think about.